Today we're talking with Davita Martinez, who is the Director of Educational Support Services for the NARCY, and that covers the whole country of Belize. And Davita and I have known each other for about 3 years, and she's one of the first people I got to know when I came here. But you know, Davita, I don't know that much about your background, and I bet a lot of our viewers would like to know a little bit about it also. How did you get started in this education business?
I have been a teacher for close to 35 years, I think. I started out in the teaching career as an assistant teacher down in rural Toledo. From there, I applied to come and work at Stella Maris School, which at the time was the only special school in the country. I opted to do that purely out of interest, and I think love. I had by that time a niece that had been born with a condition that we had hardly known anything about. I later came to find out that it is known as autism, Conner syndrome. At the time I thought this area was really fascinating, and that's how I applied to get a job at Stella Maris School. I was accepted, and I came to the school and loved it, and from there on I continued to pursue educational opportunities that would lead me in the field of special education. And so today I have a master's degree in special education from the University of Bristol in England.
Well, you certainly have the experience and you certainly have the education. I know one of your passions is inclusion. And I don't think there's anybody who knows you who would dare think anything but inclusion if they were speaking with you. Could you give us your take, your philosophy, and the essence of inclusion from your point of view?
Yeah, in a way, within the educational circles here in Belize, I have even been dubbed as the person that is most attached to, I think, inclusion. At one point in time, I was even accused of being the one to introduce the word inclusion into the Ministry of Education. And I think that speaks for itself. I have always been talking about inclusion, and in a way, I think that it's something that I think we had and lost, and are now trying to regain in probably a different way, maybe more formal. Because as a child going to school, I remember being in a class, in different classes, where there were students who were not necessarily coping the same way like other students were. But I did not see a lot of division between those who are doing well and those who are not doing so well. When I look back, I think that there were students who definitely must have had learning disabilities. There were students that had cerebral palsy, mild or moderate. There were students who had behavioral problems, though maybe they were not thought of as that. But there were students to whom the teachers had to be talking a lot of times, who would be true, and because school was not the best place for them. But we were not separated. We were in the same classes. And so I think when I look back at those days, I sometimes think maybe inclusion was something we had in a different way. Maybe because the populations were smaller, less sophisticated, and I think maybe all that has contributed to now teachers came to the point where they felt classrooms were too big, we need to have extra training for certain children, we need different materials, we need more resources to be able to do a better job with students. And so I think somewhere along the line, with population growth, natural things moving along, and also knowledge. We gain knowledge about the fact that these children can't just be seen as troublemakers or can't just be seen as slow learners. The knowledge about how the brain works, knowledge about what's socially acceptable and what's not. I think we came to the point where we thought definitely these students can do better than just pass through the system. And as such, we have been working on inclusion in a different way, because with the knowledge, more knowledge along the way, these students were left behind or left out. And as such, it is like a rebirth of inclusion with a more consciousness to ensure that the students get what they truly deserve, so that they don't just pass through the system, but would be there to make good citizens of themselves, and also to be contributing to the society, or at least to be able to do something for their own selves within, not apart from, but within a society.
Have you seen a change in teachers' acceptance of the inclusion model?
Well, definitely yes. I have seen a change in many teachers. We have a long way to go. There are still a lot of teachers who might say, yes, this child has a special need, but I don't have the skill with which to deal with this child. Or this child doesn't belong in my class, this child belongs in a special school. There are still those teachers. But to a large extent, there are also many teachers who have embraced the fact that these children, once they are in their classrooms, are their responsibility. And from that point of view, teachers without training, there are some teachers who don't stop and wait for a person to come in and give them an advice as to what to do. These teachers take initiative, they read, they look on the internet, they might call us at this office, and when we do respond to their needs and give them advice and show them, demonstrate to them that these children can do better with maybe changing something small in their classrooms, these teachers go back and try it, and when they see that it works, they feel rewarded, they feel better empowered, and they go on and they tell other teachers. And to a certain extent, yes, attitudes of teachers are changing.
Well, Ms. Martinez, I can't thank you enough for the information you've shared, and I'm sure other people are going to find it as well, as interesting as well. And I just want you to know it's been great working with you, and look forward to continuing to work with you. And I'm looking forward to reviewing this and